Welcome to our Ultimate Partner Visa webinar, where we hope all your partner visa questions can be answered. My name is Erica, and I'm one of the co-founders and directors here at Bravo Migration. And I'm a registered migration agent, and I have been registered since 2005, so a long time. I'm also a migrant. I migrated to Australia in '96, and I've worked in more than 10,000 visa applications. And again, we keep saying, our approval rate's 100% because it is with partner visas, and we're very proud of it. Now, starting with some basics about the partner visa, okay? There's actually three different types of partner visas. We have what is called an onshore subclass, which is a visa for people who are in Australia when they apply. Then we have an offshore subclass, meaning people applying for this visa are outside of Australia at the time of application. And we have what it's called the prospective marriage visa, which is also for people who are outside of Australia. Now, if you look at the subclasses for the partner visa, onshore and offshore, you're going to see that there's two subclasses. And the reason is the partner visa is actually what we call a two-step visa. When you make an application for a partner visa, you're actually applying for two visas, a temporary visa and a permanent visa. And why that's the case? Many years ago, the partner visa used to be a permanent visa. People applied for a partner visa, got granted permanent residence straight away, and that was it. Now, this created, unfortunately, a number of problems with people who started using the partner visa in a non-genuine manner. So people would get married, apply for the partner visa, get permanent residence, then get divorced right after, and they could still maintain their permanent residence status. And the department found over the years that a lot of those cases apply to people who are not in genuine relationships. So with time, they split that visa into a two-step visa. You are granted a temporary leg of that visa first. And after 2 years from the lodgement of the visa application, if the temporary leg of the visa has been granted, you will then be able to be granted the permanent leg of the visa. So you make one application, pay for both visas, and 2 years later, you have the chance to send some documents and be granted the permanent visa. And that's for people who are outside or inside of Australia. Now, with the prospective marriage visa, this is a preliminary visa that people apply for before they apply for a partner visa. This is only for people who are located outside of Australia at the time of application. And if this visa is granted, it will be only valid for 9 months. Why is it such a short visa? Because this visa then will allow the person who was outside of Australia to come into the country, live with their partner, with their fiancé, with their person for 9 months. And within those 9 months, that couple must get married, and then they apply for the partner visa. So this is for people who never lived together, who didn't spend a lot of time together, maybe, and it's a visa for them to, they can live together if they want, or they can still live separate when they're here. I know some cultures and some religions won't allow for people to live together before marriage. This is the visa where people can spend time together and confirm that they have a genuine intention to get married. Before the 9 months expire, that visa holder will then have to get married with the Australian sponsor, and then they have to apply for a partner visa. Now, we get a lot of inquiries from people who have started relationships online, and there's nothing wrong with that, but this visa is not for people in that situation. This visa has a clause that says only couples who have met in person for at least once could apply for this visa. So if you're watching us today and you are in an online long-distance relationship, this is not the visa for you, and the partner visa subclasses that I showed earlier are not for you either. You need to meet your girlfriend or your boyfriend in person before you can move with any of these visas. Now, the prospective marriage visa is also not a visa for couples who want to be in Australia so they can live together, but they're not really thinking about marriage. This is for people who have an intention to get married. We actually have to send a document with this application that shows a date has been booked for the wedding with the Australian state or territory where the sponsor lives. People can get married outside of Australia as well, but if they want to apply for this visa, they will have to get married before that person can stay here for more than 9 months. Now, the problem we have with the prospective marriage visa is that it takes a long time for this visa to be granted. So in a lot of cases, our clients say, my girlfriend is in another country, my boyfriend's in another country, we want to apply for this visa, but we don't want to wait all this time to be reunited. So then we look at how else we could reunite this couple. Can the Australian sponsor go live in the visa applicant's country for a while? Or could we bring that visa applicant to Australia in a temporary visa? So let's say a visitor visa where the person comes to visit the sponsor, and then once they're here, if they decide that they want to follow on with the relationship, we look at other visas they can apply for in Australia to keep the couple together, because this visa is only when the applicant's outside of Australia. So if you've never met in person, I strongly recommend you meet in person, not only because the visa doesn't allow for an application otherwise, but also because if you are the sponsor watching us today, you don't want to apply for any of these visas or commit to someone you haven't met in real life. We've seen some unfortunately terrible stories out there, and the prospective marriage and the partner visas are very expensive, we will see. So it's advisable to meet in person before making any decisions. So bringing the person on a tourist visa so you can meet first and then decide what you're going to do sometimes works best, and it could we could open other pathways that wouldn't take as long. Now, the partner visa onshore and offshore, they're very similar. The requirements are identical. What's different is where the person must be at the time of application and time of decision, and the subclass numbers. But basically, they are only for people who are in a relationship with an Australian citizen, an Australian permanent resident, or even a New Zealand citizen who lives in Australia, who has lived here from before 2001. So not many New Zealand citizens can meet this requirement, but older New Zealand citizens who were living in Australia before February 2001 maybe could sponsor partners for the partner visa. Now, what does being in a relationship mean? So again, this is different from the prospective marriage. Prospective marriage is for people who are engaged to be married. This is for people who are in a relationship. Now, if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or if you're dating someone, that's not a relationship that meets the requirements for this visa, okay? That's not the case. Now, a relationship under law for this visa is either what we call a spousal relationship, meaning people got legally married, or they are in a de facto relationship. Now, a spousal relationship, as I explained, you need to get married. A religious wedding on its own has no legal value, but a civil wedding has value. So some couples only get married in the register, other couples get married in the register and in their church. I can use the civil wedding at a register, but not just the religious wedding. Now, a de facto relationship is for couples who are living in a relationship. They are living in the same place, in the same house, and they are not married. So they live together as a married couple, but they are not legally married. Now, for the purposes of this visa, the minimum time a couple needs to be living together before the department, normally, there's always exceptions, normally would accept that that couple is in a de facto relationship, it's 12 months. So once a couple lives together in Australia for 12 months, under family law, they are considered a de facto couple. Now, as I said, 12 months is the minimum time required for someone to be considered a de facto relationship. So living together for 12 months minimum, but there are exceptions. But normally, we're talking about 12 months. One of the exceptions is when a couple decides to register their relationship, their de facto relationship, in Australia with one of the states or territories where they are living. So if someone, this is in some countries or in some states is called a civil partnership, in other states is called a registration of relationship. If a couple lives together for 12 months and doesn't sign any papers, under Australian family law, they are a de facto couple. Now, if a couple decides that they want to register that de facto relationship with a state or a territory before 12 months, that state or territory will accept the registration and issue a certificate saying you are a de facto couple, because both parts have signed a paper saying, I'm in a de facto couple with Bob, and Bob signs a paper saying, I'm in a de facto relationship with Erica. So the state or the territory accepts that and issues a certificate. Now that eliminates the requirement that the couple should be living together for 12 months before applying for a visa so they can be considered a de facto couple. Now, that registration only has legal value for the partner visa if it's made in Australia. So let's say you're an Australian citizen and you want to sponsor your girlfriend in the Philippines. If your girlfriend in the Philippines registered a de facto relationship in whichever legal scenario it's possible there, I'm not familiar with Filipino laws, and there's a paper saying you're a de facto couple, great, but I cannot use it here because it's not recognized for the partner visa purposes. So who is the partner visa for? Someone who's in a family, spousal or de facto relationship with an Australian citizen, an Australian permanent resident, or an eligible New Zealand citizen, as you can see there. Now, the partner visa has existed for many years because it allows that couples are reunited and allows an Australian citizen or permanent resident to ensure that the person they chose to be with, if they're from another country, can stay in Australia and live with them. But the partner visa has a lot of challenges, and sometimes it appears in the media for the wrong reasons. First one is the processing times. It takes a long time to get a partner visa. During COVID, the department increased the number of partner visas allowed to be granted every year. So we saw processing times moving faster. We saw some people getting an approval in 6 months, but now it's back to a year and a half. We see that, you know, the average estimated processing times as published by the Department of Home Affairs goes from 5 to 33 months. And that's a huge range. Reason being, a lot of people provide incomplete and inaccurate information, and that delays the processing. So again, if you are working with an experienced migration agent and a professional migration agent, we will lodge what it's called a decision-ready application. Because yes, it takes time for your turn to come in the queue for a case officer to process your visa. But once there is a case officer in your application, we really want you to be granted that visa very quickly by providing all the documents and the information that that case officer will need. So this is one of the challenges. People who send too much documents that are not relevant or wrong documents, provide incomplete information or things that don't match. This all creates delays. The other challenge with the partner visa is the cost. As I mentioned earlier, this is a very expensive visa. For you to apply for this visa, it costs over $8,000. So you really want to ensure that you qualify or that your partner qualifies before you launch this visa. Because if you make a mistake or if you shouldn't have even applied for this visa, the visa could be refused and you're not going to get a refund. So it's a problem. Now, a lot of people, challenges we have with people who are in Australia, a lot of people think that, okay, I'm on a student visa, for example, and I will make an application for a partner visa. The day I make that application, I am free from my studies and my student visa will magically disappear and I don't have to go to school anymore. I don't have to pay my college anymore and I can do whatever I want because I lodged a partner visa application. Only when that partner visa is granted, it will overrule, it will supersede your current visa, be it a student visa, sponsorship visa, working holiday visa. While that visa has been lodged and not granted, when that application is still pending, whatever visa you have is still valid. So it doesn't work like that. If you're in Australia, you will be granted a bridging visa upon lodging that partner visa application, but that bridging visa only kicks in when your current visa expires, not automatically. So a lot of people have trouble with that and they need help from a migration agent to plan when is the best time to apply for a partner visa and what else can I do to then maybe cancel my current visa without having any problems and becoming unlawful in Australia. So that's a very complex situation that you really need someone experienced to help you with. Also, if you are in Australia and you are holding a bridging visa, or if you are unlawful, you could apply for a partner visa and make a valid application, but then later you need to deal with something called Schedule 3 criteria, which is very complex. In this case, the department will only grant the visa if you had very compassionate or compelling reasons for being here on that bridging visa or being here unlawfully. So you really need to be careful with these challenges. Moving to more complex issues, as I said, if you're here on a bridging visa and you want to apply onshore, it could be a problem. You should be holding a substantive visa, which is not a bridging visa, but in some cases, you may be able to meet Schedule 3 criteria. It is hard, but it could be possible. Some people are also barred from applying for other visas in Australia because they had a cancellation or a refusal of their visa. That's called a Section 48 bar. But with the partner visa, it is possible for even people who have a Section 48 bar to apply for that visa. However, it's not for everyone, and you really need to check with a professional if that applies to you. Other type of problems we see with people applying for partner visas without the help of an agent is that they don't send enough forms that are required, or they send the wrong forms. They forget to lodge the sponsorship application. Their dates don't match. The sponsor may say, we met in February 2020, and the visa applicant says March, and the case officer is going to go, how come they don't know exactly when they met? And it might be an honest mistake. As I said, some people send too many documents that are not relevant, and that creates problems. Or what's worse, they don't send the correct and appropriate documents. So you should be aiming for a decision-ready application. And a decision-ready application is not what you're going to see on the checklist in the Department of Home Affairs. That's a general list. Everyone has a different case, and situation, and their application and documents should be related to that scenario. So if you're watching here, this webinar today here live with us, or if you're watching a recording, the best value we can give you is giving you tips about how to lodge a partner visa application and avoid these problems and overcome these challenges. Number one, don't rush into applying for a partner visa. Sometimes, a lot of times, we see people who are in a genuine relationship, the relationship's moving well, but then the person who's not Australian is here on a temporary visa, student visa, sponsorship visa, a graduate visa, and that visa is about to expire, and that person doesn't have any other visas they could apply for to remain in Australia. And then the couple sits down and decides, okay, we don't want to break up, we don't want you to leave the country, but there's no other visa options for you to stay here. I cannot move into your country because I don't speak your language, I have a job here, whatever. Then the couple decides that the best option to remain together is for that person who's not Australian to apply for a partner visa. In many cases, that works well, even if it's a bit rushed, even if the relationship wasn't going to reach that stage so fast. But we've also seen cases where this is catastrophic to the relationship. So don't rush into it. Have a conversation. Consider other visas, temporary visas that you could stay here a little bit longer, so to test the relationship. I just had a recent case where this lady from South America was here on a student visa. She was in a relationship. The Australian sponsor was like, let's lodge a partner visa and ensure you don't go home because I want to remain together. And she said, yes, I'm okay with that, but I think we need some more time to see where the relationship is going and if it's really going to work in the long run. So she chose to extend her student visa. She still wanted to continue studying anyway. So she was a genuine student, and she wanted to learn more English. So she extended her studies and her student visa and continued her relationship, but without having the pressure of a partner visa application on the relationship. So I was hoping that the relationship was gonna, go well. And in many cases it does. But in her case, she called me after 6-7 months and said, look, I actually decided to go back home. This is not working for me. So if we had lodged a partner visa application, she would have wasted $8,000 with that visa application. So in her case, they didn't rush. They made the right decision. They sat down, looked at other visas first, and then they decided to apply for the partner visa. Not in their case, they decided to break up, but the majority of the couples remains together. Now, the other side of the coin is people who don't lodge it in time or don't come to talk to us soon enough and leave everything for the last minute. There's a lot of documents that need to be prepared before you lodge this application. And it will be a lot of stress on you if you leave it for the last minute. If you show up in our office and say, my visa expires next week, excuse me, my team and I will work and make that application happen within the time that you still have left. We will never leave a client with a visa expiry. We will never let the client have an expiry on their visa. However, it will be stressful for you. It's going to be stressful for us. And there's no need for you to put yourself and our agents in this situation. You really can plan ahead and make sure that you're not applying in the last minute, especially if you are in Australia. If you are overseas, that's not so such a problem, but if you are here, yes. Now, I mentioned earlier that some people might want to apply for a partner visa. They don't want to get married. They want to apply on the back of a de facto relationship. And they may decide that they want to apply before they've been living together for 12 months, either because there's an expiry date on the visa applicant's current visa that's coming very soon, or they are certain that they want to continue their relationship and they don't want to wait 12 months. As I said, if at least one of the couple is living in Australia, the majority of states and territories will accept a relationship registration, and that relationship registration replaces the requirement that the couple must live together for 12 months before they apply for the visa. Now, you need to be careful because Western Australia and the Northern Territory, they don't recognize relationship registration, so it's not possible to do that there. All other states and territories in Australia allow for relationship registration. However, one tip we're giving to you today is that if you have lived together for 12 months, you don't need to do this necessarily. We see a lot of couples who come to our office and say, we want to hire you guys to work on our partner visa application. We want to lodge it soon, and we have already registered our relationship. And I go, right, that's great. It looks like you're organized, but tell me a bit about you, because I want to find out if you really needed to register the relationship. We've been living together for 2 years, but we heard that we needed to do this. And that's one of the myths out there for partner visas. You don't need to register your relationship. If you have been living together for at least 12 months, that is not necessary. Some couples say, yeah, we've been living together for more than a year, but I don't think we have enough documents to show evidence of that. Now, what I say to clients is, if you have been living together for 12 months, you may not have all the documents that the checklist in the Department of Home Affairs website has, but we will suggest documents that you can use instead of what they require there, because that checklist is a suggestion and it doesn't apply to every couple. Every couple is different. Some people live in a rented property and then they have a lease agreement in their name. Some other couples live in the parents' house of the Australian sponsor. Therefore, they're not going to have a lease agreement, but that doesn't mean they have to register the relationship. There's other ways that can show that the couple is living at that address. So be careful. Don't presume you need to do this. On the back of that, and I already gave you tip 4, don't presume you need a lease agreement. Don't presume you need a joint bank account. As I said, the checklist is more of a suggestion. If you have a genuine relationship and if you meet the standards for the visa, we will find other documents to show in your case that would be evidence that you are in a genuine relationship and that you meet the requirements of the visa. So there's not a single document that is required and you need to show. So be careful there as well. Now, what many couples don't know, and that's a very technical thing, there's actually 2 applications when you apply for a partner visa. You apply for the visa and you apply for the sponsorship. There's got to be an Australian sponsor, a citizen or a permanent resident, or even an eligible New Zealand citizen sponsoring that application. And that's a separate electronic application. So a lot of couples come to us and say, we lodged our partner visa by ourselves and it was refused. Can you have a look at why? And when I see it's because they forgot to lodge the sponsorship component. So it's a very, for us, migration agents, it's a very silly rookie mistake, but of course you are not legal professionals. You're not specialized in partner visas, but it's a very silly way of having a refusal. And again, you're not going to recover that $8,000 fee. So yeah. Tip number 6 is, if you're here in Australia and you hold a temporary visa, a tourist visa, student visa, sponsorship visa, graduate visa, working holiday visa, and you apply for a partner visa, don't assume that that's it. Your other visa is canceled. You don't need to study anymore. You can now work forever, and life is good. Not yet. We need to wait until the partner visa is approved so you can be really here with the conditions that a partner visa has. The partner visa allows you to work full-time You don't need to study unless you want to, and you have Medicare rights. That kicks in when the visa is approved. So Medicare could kick in earlier. If you're in Australia at the time of application, we can get you Medicare before the grant. But, you know, that visa, whatever it is that you hold, is not going to be canceled until the partner visa is granted, not just when you lodge that partner visa. So be careful there. And the last tip I have for you today, after all we discussed, is don't do it alone. It may be that you lodge a partner visa by yourself and you have a good result, and a lot of people do that, but it's like doing your tax return in a new country for the first time. You're going to spend a lot of time reading, and you might be misguided by what other people will tell you who are not specialists. They're going to tell you what worked in their case that may not necessarily apply to you. And even if you understand everything that is required when you lodge the application, only an experienced professional who works in thousands and thousands of applications knows exactly what's going to work and what's not going to work. So we give you the shortcuts. And by lodging it with an agent, we know exactly what the department wants. So there will not be delays with your case. We know when it's better to get your medical checks done, when it's better to get your police checks done, what should be in your documents, what should not be in your documents, to ensure that when you get a case officer, the case officer goes, great, I've got everything, tick, 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 grant, which is what happens with 99% of our cases. We don't even get requests for further information or documents for our partner visa applications. So if you believe you qualify, just be careful with the costs. It is an expensive visa. As I said, it costs $8,085 to lodge the visa application. If you are applying and you have dependents, children from a previous relationship, etc., there's even more fees. A medical check is required. It's around $400. And obviously, if you want to work with us, we have our fees as well, but they vary according to your situation. If you have health problems, if you have a criminal record, we charge more. If there's custody problems with your children, then we charge more. But again, regardless of your situation, we can help you. We are partner visa specialists. Now, we only take cases that we have assessed as eligible. How do we assess if you can apply? Because again, if we say to you, you shouldn't be applying, we're actually saving you those $8,000, because chances are your visa would be refused and you would have wasted that money. So we only take cases that we believe will be approved. How do we assess you? If you are in Australia and you are in a relationship with an Australian citizen or permanent resident, send us an email to visas@bravomigration.com.au, and we will book a phone chat for you with one of our registered agents, so you can find out if you should apply for a partner visa or not. In other circumstances, if you are not in Australia or if there's complexities, we might suggest you book a visa action plan via Zoom, which is a longer consultation, and there's a cost for that one. But in most cases, we're happy to have a free chat on the phone with you. If you qualify, we will create a strategy for you, and we will then make an offer to work on that visa application. So get in touch with us and take advantage of that. Now, before I finish, there's changes coming to the sponsorship, and they haven't been announced yet. We don't know when they will come. So keep an eye out. They will have to do with showing evidence of English, which is not a requirement now, and changing the order in which the partner visa application and the sponsorship happen. Today, we lodge the visa application first, the partner sponsorship next. It's going to change. So this will affect how you lodge your application. This hasn't been implemented yet. There's no specified dates yet, but keep an eye on our webinars and social media. We will let you know when it comes on. Other than that, make sure you sign up for our newsletter. You can sign up on the link below in the description of this video. If you're watching us in our recording, our newsletters have a lot of information. They're packed with facts directly from registered agents, no rumors or fake news. We've been operating for almost 14 years. We've worked in more than 7,000 visa applications of all types, and our partner visa approval rate is 100%. This is one of the visas we work with the most here at Bravo Migration, and our approval rate is 100%. So, and we're very proud of it. So we have a team of 9 registered agents and 7 support staff. So it's super important for us to have enough people to assist you. A few testimonials about clients who we recently got partner visas. So Aline was one of them. We helped her with her partner visa, and she was pretty happy with her service, as you can see there. We started talking to her from an early stage in her journey. Here in Australia, she arrived on temporary visas, which is the most common situation with a lot of people applying for a partner visa. People arrive in Australia on a tourist visa, on a student visa, on a work and holiday visa, and even on a sponsorship visa, and they end up finding someone and falling in love with someone, starting a relationship, and then the focus of their stay here in Australia changes from studying, from working into, you know, I want to stay in Australia because I want to continue with this relationship. And that's the focus of the partner visa. So Aline was a successful example. Rachel also has given us a good review, a 5-star review. She reckons we are extremely professional and helpful. It was great working with her. This other client also got a partner visa working with someone from our team. So it's important when you're choosing a registered migration agent to help you that you check their reviews. As I said, get in touch with us. We will be happy to book an assessment over the phone for you if you're in Australia and you're in a relationship with an Australian citizen or permanent resident. We are looking forward to helping you get your partner visa. Thanks for watching. My name is Erica, and I'll see you later.